Hey everyone, it's Nina. Thanks for joining me today for a new video. Today I'm going to be doing a bit of watercoloring with Tim Holtz's brand new Distress pencil sets. These are the next three sets from his Distress pencil collection. And what's really fun about these pencils is that they coordinate so perfectly with the other Distress products, and you get beautiful results with the watercoloring. So these are the three sets that are part of the release, and I'm going to flip them around so you can see the back side and see what colors are included in each pack. You can always press pause to get a good look at this and see them all listed. I also have links below in the video description and over on my blog to all of the pencils as well. Now, I didn't use it in my project today, but there is also a 2-pack of pencils in Picket Fence and Black Soot, great staple neutral colors that you can have to go with the other pencils. So for my project, I'm going to be using the floral trim stamp, and I'm going to be stamping this beautiful cluster on the bottom and top corners of my paper. This is going to give me a really nice framing for the sentiment that I'll put in the middle. I'm going to stamp with VersaFine Clair ink. This is a really great stamping ink for detailed images and also for watercoloring. So I'm going to use that to stamp my flowers, and look how beautiful black that is. It's super crisp and it captures all those fine details. Now for the second stamping, I am going to shift the paper a little bit so that it doesn't stamp quite the same as the other corner, just for something a little bit different. So I'm going to start watercoloring now, and I'm going to actually just leave the pencils in their case and start picking up the color from the pencils in the case themselves. I'm not even going to pull them out. I'm just going to pick up that color and use some water to fade out the color and get a really nice bit of highlighting. It's one of my favorite ways to get some dimension and detail is I add a little bit of color somewhere and then I feather it out with the water so that way I get that higher concentration where I placed it, but then it fades out for the rest of that area, and then that gives me that highlight that I like. So I'm working between all three sets here to pick out the colors for my project. All of these sets have some great colors in them, but I wanted to mix and match, so I didn't use one particular set for this coloring. I mixed and matched. I'm using a size 4 paintbrush. I have it linked below in the video description with all these other products that I'm using. This was a nice size for coloring in this image. I wanted to create a little bit of a rainbow with this, so you'll notice I picked different colors. I've got red, yellow, a little bit of teal, blue, and purple going throughout this project, and then of course I colored all the leaves green, so we got a really nice bright assortment of colors. Once I had all of my watercoloring complete and it was dry, I brought in some tumbled glass distress ink and also a blending brush from Simon's Stamp, and I'm going to ink blend on the 2 empty corners. And I'll just end up fading that ink blending down into the coloring itself so it kind of fades out. But that gives me a nice bright pop of blue back there to look like the sky, but it doesn't cover up any of my watercoloring. I also decided to add some splatters. I'm going to use some shimmer mist from Brutus Monroe. This is a really nice pearlescent color, and it looks really pretty when it catches the light. It's not super distracting, and I love the shimmer that it provides. I'm going to add a little bit of stenciling here. I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of some lace stenciling with the Simon's Stamp circular lace stencil and some glitter paste. This clear glitter paste is from Brutus Monroe. It's the Fallen Snow color. And I'm just going to apply this in kind of a distressed form. I don't want it to be perfect. I want it to kind of feather in and out. And so I'm going to get basically this really cool glitter layer on top of some of my coloring, but not all of it. And that creates a really cool interest. While that dries, I'm going to die cut my sentiment. This greeting is from the Simon's Stamp Birthday Confetti die. I'm not going to actually use the confetti, I just want the words. And so I will die cut this from some silver cardstock as well as white. I die cut it 3 times, and I'm going to layer all of these pieces together so I get a more dimensional greeting. I want this to have a little bit of substance to it. So I'm using craft tacky glue to adhere all these pieces together, starting with the 2 white layers, and then I'll finally glue that silver layer on top to finish it off. This nice silver color looks so elegant in the middle of these flowers, and it will catch the light really nicely. So I popped my panel onto a 5x7 card. So this panel is 4.5 by 6.5. So we get that nice little bit of trim around the edges. But I loved being able to work on something so large because it allowed me to get a lot of coverage with the flowers, and I could fit a lot more into it than if I had done this on an A2 card. So what you're seeing me do now is take some 3D foam squares from Simon's Stamp and cut them down into little slivers so I can put those behind my greeting and pop it up off of my card. You don't have to pop it up. You could just glue it straight down, but I love the shadow that this gives underneath of the sentiment, and it looks so cool layered up on top of the flowers. I'm picking out a birthday sentiment strip set from Simon, and I'm going to foil this with some teal foil from Thermoweb. Simon Says Stamp sentiment strips are printed with toner, so that way you can foil these with toner foils. So I'm going to put this inside of my Mink machine. You could use a laminator, and I am sending this through inside of a Thermoweb carrier sheet. I really like using these for all of my toner foiling projects. So once I foiled my sentiment, I trimmed it down, and then I'm going to glue it underneath the birthday greeting. I'm going to pull out some thin 3D foam squares from Simon. I like storing them in these clear pockets that Simon carries. They work great for sorting different types of products, and the foam square sheets fit perfectly inside of it. So I label each of my different types of foam squares, the thin ones versus the thicker ones. And I have an envelope for just white. I have an envelope for the black ones. So it's a really great way to organize it all. And then I stick it inside of a Simon Says Stamp box. And that is a super handy way to keep all of my foam squares together. So anyway, I used the thin one to attach that underneath the happy birthday greeting. And then finally, I brought in some sparkly ribbon that I had in my stash, and I'm going to use this to tie across the side of my card. And that gave me this really nice sparkly ribbon, and that really brings out the sparkles in the glitter stenciling that we added. I love all of the different aspects of this card, from the shiny greeting to the sparkles on the flowers, which makes them look like they have a little bit of dew or something on them. It's a very magical look. And then down to the foiled sentiment and those beautiful watercolored flowers, all made possible by the Tim Holtz Distress watercolor pencils. If you're interested in those pencils or any of the other supplies that I used today, you can find links below in the video description or picture links over on my blog, so be sure to check all of that out. Thanks so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed and were inspired to play around with some of these pencils. They're a really fun medium to work with. You don't have to use them as I did by picking it up off the pencil. You could go direct to paper with the pencil. It's totally up to you, but it is a fun medium to work with. Thanks so much for watching, friends. I'll be back soon to share more with you all, but until next time, have a fabulous day.